to the DFS Sweatshop. I'm your host, your DFS Jerusalem, coming to you live from the
Unless you got 150 entries and then you're a shark and I don't fuck with you. So
There's too much good shit on here. This is the often imitated, never duplicated. I'm here with my lovely co-host. Thank y'all. Stay safe. Enjoy. I may have been calling in to work. You're gonna be in the running for the Snowflake of the Year. Get your shit together with your Snowflake. I'm here at the crib, man, and I'm just finishing up. Stop. Throw them bitches in the main. I'm telling you. You're gonna see the results, bro. You're gonna see it. This is what's really gonna help you out. You know how I feel about the home dogs. There's a lot of fight in the home dogs, and I really think a lot of shit to go over tonight. Who that scored all them points over there? Player of the night.
get them in your lineups, get them in there, and let's go get this money.
Thursday, let's go, and remember, in the sweatshop, we always keep it 300. We're here. One of my favorite times of the year. Opening day of MLB is upon us, and together, you and I here in the DFS Sweatshop will make sure that we have yet another profitable sports cycle. NBA's to coming to a close. We're pretty much going to be done with that fairly soon, but we are diving deep into MLB, and I'm making today's video not only to break down the opening day slate. I know it's a short 3-game slate, which is good enough for us to get into that, but also to go over some things that a lot of people do not want to tell you about. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about roster construction. We're going to be talking about how the core 4 applies to baseball. A lot of you think that, hey, man, the DFS Jerusalem, man, he's all about basketball. And while that is true to a certain extent, the sweatshop was built off of a few Brave stacks and some some Indian stacks. Actually, that's where all of this came from. That's where the core 4 concept really took shape for me. It was during baseball season. What I was noticing was that if I could stick to the same group, not the same group, but just a core of guys throughout all of my lineups, and not listening to all the talking heads and them telling me to play this guy, I can play this guy, play this guy, but just stick to a certain core of players, then I would stand a better chance of all of my lineups cashing when I did have that good night. And what really brought it all to fruition was, playing the Atlanta Braves. I live in South Carolina, so the closest professional team to me is going to be the Atlanta Braves. That's what we get most on our TV at that specific time. Those are the players that I was most familiar with. And once I really got the gist of stacking players, stacking batters, it made sense to me. And then another one. I would always, not pay up for the pitching, thinking that it would hurt me. But there's a few things in this video that we're going to discuss that are going to really help you in your roster builds and your lineup constructions. And that's what it's about. It's not just about giving you plays, telling you who to play. It's about telling you what positions you want to pay the most attention to, what things that are going to be out of your control that you really need to pay attention to, and that's weather. You're going to get weather concerns a lot when it comes to MLB. So sit tight, man. It's going to be a really great video. We're going to break it down, talk about some stuff, and really dig deeply into your roster construction and how the core 4 can translate from basketball into baseball for you. So stay tuned. Now, the first thing I want you to take notice of is the actual lineup construction over across both sites, FanDuel and DraftKings. Now, I play both of them. Me personally, I like the fact that on DraftKings you get a little bit more flexibility because you get to roster 2 pitchers. FanDuel is a little bit more cut and dry, but a lot of folks enjoy that. They like that too. So here, as you can see, you've only got 1 pitcher here on FanDuel. But on DK, you've got 2 pitchers. So I think it equates to around a similar amount of play. I think you got 10 over here on DraftKings, and then you've got 9, I believe, on FanDuel when it comes to overall roster spots. So, of course, it's a couple pitchers, a catcher, first, second, third, shortstop, and 3 outfielders. Well, I'm going to explain to you how the core 4 is going to work and how you can apply that to your MLB. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to nail down our pitching, because if you can win the pitching battle, that is going to help you a ton. Now, the first thing we want to do on DraftKings when we start our core 4 is we want to go ahead and lock in an ace. You've got to lock in an ace. There's a few pitchers around the league that we're going to be talking about that are must plays. Like, I know we got Clayton Kershaw is on the mound. You've got to play Curtin. He's like Westbrook. He's like the Westbrook of MLB. These are cats that you got to play these guys because pitchers. A lot of times the cash line will be about 120 to 140, something like that. And in some spots, the pitchers you roster can get you almost halfway there. So that's where you want to put the most of your attention when it comes to where you're going to be paying up for. Is at the pitching spot. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at some of the pitchers that we're going to be want to take close consideration to this season. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now, arguably the best pitcher in the league, Clayton Kershaw. The guy is a lefty with command, a very, very great pitcher. I think last year he only started like 21 games, 12 wins by decision, also had 4 losses. So very solid pitcher, man. This guy is going to be, the Russell Westbrook of pitching when it comes to MLB this year. It's going to be a guy that's going to stay high priced, but you're going to have to find a way to work him in your lineups so that you can get that high upside at the pitching spot. Now, I believe he gave up about 20. Gave up 8 home runs last year, about 28 earned runs, 172 strikeouts. Very solid, and only 21 games of work. Man, this is very solid. So this is a guy that you're gonna have to really pay attention to. Really great pitcher, and Clayton Kershaw. Next guy's gonna be Max Scherzer. He tosses for the Washington Nationals. Really great pitcher. We're talking last year he started 34 games. That's a lot of games to play as a starting pitcher. Very, very solid. 20-7 with a 2.96 ERA, 0.97 WHIP, 284 strikeouts, 284 strikeouts, 228 innings pitched. Man, the dude he's a monster, and you're gonna have to have this guy. This guy's on the slate. The beauty or the best part is when you've got multiple aces on the slate. And that way, part of the start to your core 4 is going to be choosing which ace to go. And it's not always the cheapest. It's the guy that's in the best spot. So that's always going to be a very good way to go. And you don't have to worry as much about ownership when it comes to baseball because there's so many roster spots, so many different combinations that you can just roster who you like. And a lot of nights, I'm gonna like Max Scherzer, bro. Dude is awesome. 144 ERA plus, great. 3.2, nice. It's a very, very great pitcher. Max Scherzer is somebody you're going to have on a lot of nights. Next guy, Madison Bumgarner. This dude here reminds me of Henry Rowan Gardner for some reason. He just does. And very great pitcher, man. Probably top 5 pitcher easily. They got him ranked in the top 3. 34 games started last year. 15-9 with a 2.74 ERA, 1.03 WHIP, 251 Ks, 226 innings pitched. That is what you want. You want guys that are striking out over 200. If those guys are striking out over 200, that means you're going to get, a ton of exposure to that. And that's very, very important when it comes to your starting pitching, is having guys that are going to get Ks. Next guy on the list, Noah Syndergaard. Pitches for the New York Mets. Very, very solid pitcher. Pitched 30 games last year. 14-9 was the record with a 2.6 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 183.2 innings pitched, 218 Ks, and that's what you need. I cannot stress that to you enough. You need strikeout upside. You got to have K upside when it comes to your pitching, man. This is where you're going to be starting your core 4s from, is nailing down an ace. Next up, Corey Kluber. He tosses for the Cleveland Indians. He's a little up in age, 30 years old. 32 games he started last year, 18-9 with a 3.14 ERA, 1.06 WHIP, 227 Ks while pitching 215 innings. That's very solid. I would say he's definitely a top 5 pitcher in this league, a guy you're going to have to get on your rosters night in and night out. So we're going to roll through a couple more. I just want you to be very familiar with who you're going to have in terms of pitching. Okay. Now, Chris Sale went from a very promising young prospect to a bona fide ace in this league. He was traded for Yohan Moncada in the offseason, started 32 games last year, 17-10 with a 3.34 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, and 233 Ks in 226 innings. Yet again, another guy you're going to have to look at in Fenway is where he's going to be pitching this year, playing for the Red Sox. So it's a very, very pitcher-friendly park. I think he's going to do very well there. That's another guy that's poised for another really great season. Now, right around John Lester is where we kind of get into that middle tier. Guys that are still going to be priced up in some spots, but you don't have to always, know that you can't never take a shot on because it's going to be so high in salary. John Lester is right around that area, man. He's 33, kind of older guy. 32 games he started last year, 19-5 was the record with a 2.44 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, 197 Ks. You see the drop off right there in 202 innings. So there's a big difference between upper 200s in strikeouts and getting below that 200 mark. So I like to target guys that are have that 200K for a season upside. I love those 200K to those 200K guys. Next, we got my main man Johnny Cueto pitching, tossing for the San Francisco Giants. 31 years of age. 32 games he started last year. 18-5 was the record with a 2.79 ERA and a 1.09 WHIP. Also had 198 Ks in 219.2 innings of work. So this is a guy, very strong, very commanding pitcher, really nice stuff. Has some really great team defenders behind him, which gives him, and they also give him solid run support as well. So this is a guy that's going to be seeing wins. So I do like Johnny Cueto. Next, we've got Yu Darvish, 30 years of age, pretty solid pitcher, man. Dude, Japan-born guy, came over and then been playing some really good baseball, man. 17 games started last year. 7-5 was the record, 3.41 ERA with a 1.12 WHIP and 132 strikeouts in 100 innings. Looking for him to see more actual innings this year. So he's somebody to be on the lookout for as well. We're going to be highlighting is Jake Arrieta, 31 years of age, 31 games started. 18-8 was the record with a 3.1 ERA, 1.08 WHIP, 190 Ks, and 197.1 innings. And like I said, these are mid-tier guys, mid to high-tier guys. But whenever you see these guys are on the slate with the Max Scherzers and the Clayton Kershaws, you're gonna want to pay up at pitcher. You're gonna want to pay up at pitcher. We can find value in other spots, but you're gonna want to pay up at pitcher. Now that we've really gone over the first step in building your core four in pitching, finding that ace pitcher, that stud pitcher, the next thing we're going to have to do is go out and find a Shelly. Now, a Shelly is what we refer to in the DFS Sweatshop, a motherfucker that just gets bombed, just gets shelled. Like everybody, they line up and they just hit the shit out of them, right? So you need to find a Shelly. And there's a Shelly on every slate, bro. Sometimes it's one of those, better pitchers. More often than not, it's the guys that are lowest in price. Like right now, if we had to pick a Shelly out of all these guys here, who would you say? Who would you say is going to be? I'd say it's probably going to be Zach Greinke up against the San Francisco Giants. So that's telling me that is a possibility. The next step in my core four roster building is possibly a San Francisco bat stack, a 3-bat stack, because of course or at least a 3-bat stack. We've got the pitcher locked in. We like Clayton Kershaw. That's just hypothetically. We like Bumgarner, right? Or you can say we like John Lester. These are the aces on the slate. The two guys that we really think can go out. They were in our featured top 10 pitchers. These are guys that we really want. Now, can we afford to get both of them? Probably not. We may have to take one and a slightly cheaper one. But on a larger slate, we're going to be able to afford, a really solid ace pitcher as well as a good mid-level pitcher. We think that can just get a win. Because on our second pitcher spot on DraftKings, we just want a guy that's going to win. Winning means a lot. Okay. So we need to find a Shelly. If we're going to build our bat stack, we're going to have to find a Shelly. And let's just take a look at this and let's just say, hey, Zach Greinke. That's just for intents and purposes, Zach Greinke is our Shelly. So that means when it comes to hitters, we're looking in the 1 through 5 hole for the San Francisco Giants. That's where you're gonna be looking, the 1 through 5. And each day, you're gonna be able to go to maybe a site like Our Labs or something like that. They can show you, what the actual rotation is gonna be. That's up to you. You're gonna have to go out and find out who's gonna be 1 through 9, batting the lead off all the way down. And you rarely roster guys that are batting 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Usually, you go from the 1 to the 5, and you're gonna pick 2. You're gonna pick no less than 3. No less than 3. So 3, sometimes 4, sometimes you can go 5 deep in some spots when you don't have a pitcher as well from the same team. But the fact that we do, let's just say that we do like Bumgarner as our ace, and we're going against the guy that's pitching against him as a Shelly, that's a lot to have invested in one actual game. So and you don't the Shelly doesn't have to be the cheapest pitcher. Don't get stuck into that. The Shelly doesn't have to be Zach Greinke in the spot. It could be Carlos Martinez. I'm a Yankees fan, and it could definitely be Tanaka against Tampa Bay bats. So we could stack Tampa Bay bats just as easy as we could stack Arizona bats. And you want to go at least three, bro, at least three. And then you look at those and you compare them. You see, man, who are the better hitters in the 1 through 5 hole, and you want to roster 3 of those cats at least. So that's going to be, your 3-bat stack, the second part to your core 4. The next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and jump on a jack bat. Now, a jack bat is a guy that you really feel. This is where your gut instincts are going to come in. This is where chopping it up in the Facebook VIP, really digging a little bit deeper into the statistics is going to show up. You gotta have a jack bat, and this guy could be an outfielder. Could be, because you look at some of these outfielders here, and you're going to see like Chris Bryant is a jack bat, definitely. Kyle Schwarber, I wouldn't call him so much a jack bat. He's a guy that can get on base. Hunter Pence could be a jack bat. Dexter Fowler is a jack bat. Zobrist is a jack bat. Denard Span, a guy that can get on base. So you're gonna have to find that jack bat, the guy that could go out and in one swing change the whole look of your DraftKings or FanDuel score. So we already kind of nailed down 3 spots. Our starting pitching, our ace PS, our starting pitcher 1, our ace, our 3-bat stack. Then we're gonna go find a Shelly to put him up against, and then we have to find out our jack bat. And I'm gonna give you another little look at how we can do this. Okay. Now, in MLB DFS, I'm going to tell you right now what separates winners from losers. I'm going to tell you. And it is attention to details. This game, Major League Baseball has so many different stats, so many different stat categories, so many areas that you should be paying attention, that if you don't take advantage of all the information out there, there's no way you're going to be able to keep up with the rest of the field. So this is, now, when we talk about getting that jack bat, we have to really study hitting trends. And it's not just to do with the hitters. It's just not to do with the pitchers. There is an unforeseen area. There's a place that a lot of people kind of overlook when you think about this. And this is the ballpark. The ballpark that the hitters are going to be hitting in, or the pitchers are going to be pitching in, is just as important as the actual hitter or pitcher themselves. So if we take a look at this graphic really quick, we can look at in the American League. Last year in the American League, the leader in home runs, the ballpark that gave up the most home runs last year was Safeco Field, where the Mariners play. Now, a lot of that is attributed to guys that play for the actual Mariners. Their pitching that wasn't very great for the Mariners last year when they gave up a lot of home runs. But you look at the guy who hits the most home runs in that park, and it's going to be Nelson Cruz. So if I look at Nelson Cruz, and if I see him anywhere else on this list as the ballpark owner, if he goes to another place and hits a bunch of home runs, that's a guy, that's a jack bat. That's a guy that we can look to whenever he's on the slate. So let's do some digging really quick. All right, so we know that Miguel Cabrera, right? Comerica Park gave up 208 home runs last year. Not awesome. Not bad, but not awesome. Now, a lot of those home runs were hit by Miguel Cabrera. But we also see that Miguel Cabrera is the ballpark owner of the Angel Stadium. So he gets it in Anaheim as well. And he also gets it in Oriole Park in Camden Yards. So, and Camden Yards gave up 219 home runs last year. Of course, they do have a couple of jack bats on their roster as well. So this is a guy that we know we can definitely look to. We can definitely look to this guy. We see him anytime he's on the slate, man. We can take a big swing at him, for lack of a better term. So we've got to find those jack bats, and it's going to be, it's easily as just checking the home run leaders from last year. Paying attention, knowing who's going to be swinging the bat, looking at pitching. You know that a lot of time those Shellys are going to be guys that's going to be giving up home runs. So there's a way. Say you have a 3-man stack that you really like, 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4. And then the 5th guy in the lineup is a guy that could be your jack bat. So you could have 4 people from the same hitting sequence when it comes to MLB, and you can lock down 2 spots, your 3-man stack as well as your jack bat. You've got to have those. So, and this is the strategy that has worked very well for me, bro. And it's very simple. People try to overcomplicate MLB, like, oh, because there's so many numbers. Oh my God, there's so many numbers. Oh, it's so analytics driven, and you got to be a nerd to win at MLB. No, I did better at MLB than I did in NBA this year. I did better at MLB last year than I did at NBA this year. So, and it was just sticking to my core plays, not letting motherfuckers taking me off of guys that I really liked. Really looking at, the numbers that are in front of me and not trying to dig too deep so far down. And we've got to know what we're focusing on. If we incorporate the actual ballparks into our research, and we get to know the ballparks, when we see teams that go there, we can kind of see. Everybody knows Coors Field. Everybody, oh yeah, Coors. Oh my God, you can't pitch a guy. You can't play a pitcher in Coors. Okay, duh, you can't. Okay, cool. There's some other parks where you shouldn't play pitchers as well. We look at a park like Miller Park, going down here to the Milwaukee Brewers. Miller Park, 197 home runs flew out of there, man. Giancarlo Stanton was the man there, and look at Stanton here. He's also considered the ballpark owner for the Marlins, of course, where he plays. Also here in Citi Field, where the New York Mets play. So this is a guy that is a jackbat. He is definitely a jackbat. You can, anytime he's on a slate, you can take a shot at him, right? So those are the three things right now that we're going to be focusing on: our starting pitcher, our ace pitcher, okay, our 3-bat stack where we get a guy in the first 5, 1 through 5. We get 3 guys there. Also, our jackbat. Now that we've gone over, how important pitching is in order to, paying up for that ace pitcher, as well as rocking with our 3-man bat stack, finding that Shelly to go ahead and let 3 or 4 guys that we like on the same team just completely run the train. Also, getting that bat jack that could be the 4th man from a 1 through 5 spot, or even sometime a little deeper into the hitting rotation. Could be sometimes even a little bit deeper. So those are the 3 areas that we talked about. The last, and see, that's going to build your core of players. So it's not necessarily 4 players. It's a pitcher, the 3-bat stack, and the jack bat. So that can be 5. That's 5 players. 5 players, which is going to be your core of players. Of course, we've got 10 over on I believe 10 on DraftKings, 9 on FanDuel. I believe that's right. So what we're going to do now is take a look at the first opening day slate. Point totals are a very important part of baseball because it's less points to keep track of. It's harder to guess how much points can be scored, what the over-under is going to be when teams are in basketball scoring 80 to 120 points a clip. It's kind of harder to figure out what it's going to be. But in baseball, it's sort of like hockey. The point scores, the scoring is a lot less. It's a lot smaller point totals, so it's kind of easier to gauge, around what area the point total is going to be. And baseball is pretty much, on point for the most part when it comes to those point totals. So if we look at the first game on the slate, it is my New York Yankees going to Tampa Bay to take on the Devils. Excuse me, damn, that's hockey. Going to Tampa Bay to take on the Rays. I'm thinking Tampa Bay Lightning. Devil Rays. Lightning, Devil Rays. All right, cool. All right, so this is a 7 point over under, right? So the game is projected to score 7 points. We've got the Yankees at 3.8 and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at 3.4. So what that tells me is both of these pitchers have the Shelly ability. Both of these pitchers in this game have the Shelly ability. Chris Archer as well as Tanaka. But Tanaka being priced up 9.2. Tanaka being priced up to 8.8, while Archer is 9.2, has me leaning more towards the side of Archer. And you got to pay attention to where pitchers are playing as well, because this game is in Tropicana Field. The home edge is so important going for the pitcher. He knows his way around the ballpark. He knows where to throw the ball. If he throws it in this spot and it gets hit, it might travel here. Like, this is very. They know what they're doing in their home park. So if I had to pick a pitcher in this matchup, I would definitely pick Chris Archer over Tanaka, and then I would also think to stack a few of those bats that we do have on the Tampa Bay Devil Rays side. Now, if you look at day to day is Evan Longoria. So if he's not playing, whoever plays third base is going to step in and be able to see solid swings at the bat. Also in a solid position batting third. So you got the 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got Corey Dickerson, Kevin Kiermaier, Brad Miller, Evan Longoria, if he does play, Steven Souza Jr. Now, If we go back and check this out, in Yankee Stadium, which gave up 230 home runs last year, 2.84 home runs per game, Steven Souza Jr., he was the one. So that's definitely a jackbat that we can use. Definitely, I like him. And another area that would make me want to kind of complete the stack when it comes to the on the Tampa Bay Devil Rays side is because Tanaka is a right-handed pitcher. So if we can grab a couple of these left-handed bats, now Souza Jr., of course, he's a right-handed batter, so it's going to be a little tougher for him, but he's just such a great hitter at Yankee Stadium that I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. But you've got Corey Dickerson, Kevin Kiermaier, Brad Miller. All three of those guys are lefties, and they're going to be facing the right-handed Tanaka. Yo, give me that. I think he's going to get Shelley. He's a Shelley. Tanaka's a Shelley, and I'm going to be stacking some Tampa Bay guys. I got a jack bat I feel like, and Steven Souza Jr. That's fairly cheap at 3.5. So I like him. I like that a lot. Now on the Yankee side, we've also got a couple of pretty good matchups. Now Chris Archer is a left-handed hitter, pitcher. So that means Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, you're batting in the 1 and 2 hole for my Yankees, and they're both left-handed. So those are guys that you can consider. Gary Sanchez, really solid game. Now I'm gonna tell you who I really love. And this dude is 3.2, has been tearing it up. This is like the next big thing for my Yankees, man. There's a dude named Greg Bird, 3.2 on DraftKings, very cheap price for him. I love the spot that he's in. So I'm gonna have kind of a mini game stack here when it comes to this, because I'm gonna get some of those left-handed bats from the Tampa Bay side, as well as a left-handed bat, Greg Bird. He's batting in the 5 hole, playing first base, 3.2, very solid price. We even got Brett Gardner and Jacoby Ellsbury. Gary Sanchez at 4.5. Now that dude was tearing it up, and that's another thing too, is that guy's gonna come out. A guy's gonna break on the scene, preferably, probably a younger guy. Doesn't have to be a rookie all the time. There's a younger guy that in baseball sometimes it just clicks and you get it, and you're like, oh shit, this is how you do this shit. And then you have Gary Sanchez, you have Trevor Story, you have the guy Maduff from San Diego who's balling out. Hunter, you have guys like that. So be on the lookout for that guy too. And when that guy gets hot and starts playing well, don't fade him. Just roll with it. Just play him, because streaks last longer in baseball. It's a very long season. Bad streaks last longer. Good streaks last longer. So that's very important. Very important. Next game we're talking about is at Chase Field. It is the San Francisco Giants going to Arizona, taking on the Diamondbacks. This is a very hitter-friendly park in my estimation. We've got Madison Bumgarner lined up at 11.2. Just play him. He's a stud. Just play him. Left-handed pitcher. Going to be facing a ton of right-handed bats for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The only left-handed bat that he's going to be facing is Jake Lamb, batting in the 4th hole. And that's a cause for concern, because, and the only thing is, see, a guy like Bumgarner can overcome that with just his sheer power and being a fucking stud pitcher. Like, if this was anybody else, facing all of those right-handed bats as a left-handed pitcher, I really, it would be hard for me to play him. But the fact that it's Madison Bumgarner, I like a lot of these. I like him. I like him a lot. So I wouldn't be thinking to stack anybody I wouldn't be able to think about stacking the Arizona guys. When you talk about, just big bats like Paul Goldschmidt, 4.6K, that's a big price on him, especially for opening day. Not a player that I'm really interested in either, but he's very good though. Jake Lamb at 3.7 is probably going to get the toast, and that's why he's so cheap, because he's also a left-handed batter, but he's 3.7K. Facing up against Madison Bumgarner, probably not going to even touch the ball tomorrow. On the San Francisco side, we've got a lot of left-handed bats here facing that right-handed pitcher, man. Denard Span, Brandon Belt, 2 left-handed guys going up against Zach Greinke. So I like the spot that those guys are in. This is a possible stack. It's definitely possible that Zach Greinke can be the Shelley. Definitely. You got Brandon Crawford at 3.7, the left-hander. Panic, Jarrett Parker. All of these guys, pitching, hitting deeper into the rotation around 6, 7, 8, 9 hole. But still, man, I mean, I like the top with Denard Span, Brandon Belt, Buster Posey, man. He seems like he's just always there to roster. Buster Posey. I kind of like Buster Posey though. So I think we can definitely take a look at the San Francisco Giants as a possible stack with Zach Greinke being tomorrow Shelley. It's an 8-point total. 4.7 projected runs are there for the San Francisco Giants, as 3.8 are there for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Paul Goldsmith is a good play. Most often, a lot of times he can be a jackbat, definitely. But matched up against Madison Bumgarner, I'm not going to pay that much for him when I know I've got other guys in spots. And you can take advantage of ownership because a lot of people are going to think that way and they're not going to roster him. But you can definitely take a shot there if you want to. And real quick, before we get into the last game, you know, cannot stress enough the importance of pitching, man, and really hammering that down. Because in the next game, we've got the Chicago Cubs matched up against the St. Louis Cardinals. This is a 7.5-point total, with the Chicago Cubs projected to score 4.2 runs and the St. Louis Cardinals 3.5. So it says it's going to be partly cloudy. Humidity's at 68%, 8-mile-per-hour wind. See, the weather, major concerns, and that is a major concern. You've always got to keep in touch with what the weather's going to be. Okay. Now, Chicago Cubs, they're starting John Lester, left-handed pitcher. So let's look over to some of the St. Louis bats and see, what the handedness is. Because remember, if the pitcher and the hitter has the same hand, the same strong hand, the advantage goes to the pitcher. Think about it. I'm throwing the ball on my right hand to a right-handed batter. There's a very tight window that he can actually see the ball before it's in on his on his inside arm, right? Let's just reverse it. I'm a right-handed pitcher throwing to a left-handed hitter. So dude's hitting left-handed. The ball's coming off. It's going across my entire body. He's seeing my whole range of motion. He gets to look at the ball just a split second longer. And that's the difference between, batting a hitter with the same hand as the pitcher. That's the difference. He gets to see the ball a split second longer. And that always bodes well for the batter. So we've got John Lester here, left-handed pitcher, really good left-handed pitcher, priced up to 10.6. If you're not going to play Bumgarner, like say on FanDuel, where you've got a choice, we only can pick one pitcher. It's kind of like the center spot in basketball. We only get one shot at it. And that's why pitchers got to be good when it comes to FanDuel. I would definitely take a shot at John Lester. If I didn't want to pay up for Bumgarner, I wanted to get some more quality bats in my lineup, I would definitely play John Lester tomorrow. So Carlos Martinez is going to be pitching on the other side, a right-handed pitcher. Dude can definitely be a Shelley, definitely, especially with this power lineup that we see for the Chicago Cubs. And taking a look, man, Martinez is a right-handed pitcher. The first guy he's going to face. And see, it's awesome when the leadoff guy is not the same hand as the pitcher, because that means I don't care what you think. If a guy's already on base, the confidence of the guy. Baseball is such a momentum sport. If a guy's on base, the guy behind him, the guy that's in the bat, that's on deck, the confidence is up, because they've shown that you can hit this pitcher. And I'm better than you. I'm better than you, and you hitting. I'm like the slugger, home run dude. I'm batting in the 3-hole. There's 2 of you motherfuckers on base. You're like a little dude who just wants to steal a bag, and you're second. Yeah, you could be third, but you just don't have the power. And I'm the 4th guy. I'm better than the 3 of you, and all of you have hit this guy. I'm going to hit his ass too. I'm telling you, that's a part of it, bro. It's a mind thing. So that's why we like to roster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first. Now we can give consideration to guys that are cheaper, definitely, that are going to be deeper down in the batting rotation. But where we want to start is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got Kyle Schwarber, man, a left-handed hitter going up against that right-handed pitcher in Carlos Martinez. I like that spot. He's priced up a little bit, 4.3. Chris Bryant is right behind him, hitting with the same hand. He's a right-handed hitter. Then you got Anthony Rizzo, which is a very solid play. That is definitely a bat jack, as he is priced up on DraftKings to 4.9. Then you've got Ben Zobrist hitting in that 4-hole. This guy's a switch hitter. We love those. We love those guys that can take it to either. I love those guys that can swing either side. Those are really great. Then we've got Addison Russell, 3.5, very cheap price on him. He's the same hand hitter as Carlos Martinez, but I think by the time he gets to Addison Russell, he's going to be so worked over by the first couple of guys. This dude can definitely be a Shelly, definitely. So we can look to those guys. We can look to a Chicago Cubs stack. We can look to, because this is how we building our cores, man. We're gonna build them with stacks. We're gonna build them with the stacks. We're gonna build them with ace pitching, and we're gonna build them with a jack bat. Okay. So we've got, of course, the Giants were definitely a stackable situation. We've got the Tampa Bay Rays being a stackable situation, as well as the Chicago Cubs. Now, how do I want to test John Lester? Do I want to test John Lester? I can tell you Dexter Fowler used to play for the Chicago Cubs, went over to St. Louis, and 4.1K is the price on him. He's a guy that can switch hit, so I think he's somebody that you can take a look at. We got Aldamis Diaz as well at 3.8. He's the opposite hand. He's a right-handed hitter for John Lester. So I think that guy does deserve consideration. You got Matt Carpenter. Piscotty is a guy that's been playing some really good baseball last year. And doesn't it seem like Molina is always there for catcher? Whenever you're like, rostering all these other spots and you're like, man, I only have 3.4 left, 3.2 left. Molina be there every time. And I've rostered that dude so many times. And he's a pretty solid player. So as you're creating those lineups for MLB today, man, getting into it and then moving into, the major big opening day on Monday, I want you to take those things into consideration. And the beautiful thing about this is it's not like basketball where what I'm saying now could change before lineups lock, because that's not the case. Like what I'm saying is probably not going to change. Right now, the guys I like are probably going to still be there with no incident going to lineups lock. So that is a very good thing. And that's why if you've been in the sweatshop sweating with me all this time, I think you're going to really do well at MLB if you grab a hold to the simple concepts I'm laying down to you, the same core 4 strategy where you don't roster cats all over the place. You grab a ace stud pitcher. You go with a 3-man bat stack. You also grab a jack bat and really pay attention to the weather. You pay attention to throughout the day what those concerns are going to be as far as the weather in the games. And this is just going to be the best way for you to really maximize on your DraftKings or. And people love to discuss plays. Like plays are something like everybody always wants to talk about. Everybody wants to discuss plays. Oh, who are you going to play? This guy. You're going to play this guy. Are you going to play this guy? Are you going to play that guy? Hey, you should play this guy. No, man, I'm telling you, you got to play this dude here. And really, it's not about any of that, bro. This is all about the construction of your roster, man. It's not about plays. It's not about, who the guys are going to be. It's all about roster construction. If you construct your rosters properly, you can be in every cash game, you can be in every tournament, and you can win very big. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to help you do. A lot of people are just going to give you plays. They're not going to teach you how to build a roster, because guess what? If I teach you how to build your roster, maybe you won't need me anymore. Maybe I can't continue to sell you anything if you know how to build your own rosters. Maybe I can't take advantage of you if you know what the fuck you're doing. And that's what it's about here. It's about knowing how to construct those rosters, whether it be on FanDuel or DraftKings. I'm even going to be playing some on Yahoo this year as well. So, man, we got late swap. That's cool if we need it. Do not be intimidated by MLB. It is not that hard. I will be here with you every step of the way to help you through. We're not going to be talking about specific players as much as we're going to be talking about stacks. If you show me a lineup and it's not there's no back stack in it, I don't care. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. That's not the way we're playing. I can get that in here. Get that in here. Every lineup, bro, you are trying to attack a pick. You're trying to find a Shelly. The key to this is finding an ace, finding a Shelly, attacking the Shelly, getting you a bat jack, and going in and making money and keeping it at least 130. So for your DFS Jerusalem here in the DFS Sweatshop, thank you so much for watching this very this first opening day video. MLB, man, give it up for MLB opening day, man. I'm pretty happy about that, man. It's going to be a very nice season. We're going to enjoy it to the fullest. It's a long season. Next thing up is going to be NFL. We are going in on that. So thank you so much for your support of the Sweatshop. If you would like to further support the show, there's a few ways you can do that. Number one, thank you for your support here of watching the show. That's support. Next, there's a box over there. Click the box. Let it take you where it has to take you. Also, you can visit my personal PayPal at simmonsmaurice95@yahoo.com. And if you want to become a full-fledged member of the DFS Sweatshop and bring in MLB season right, It's very simple. Just go to the website www.dfssweatshop.com. That's where you receive all of the tips and tricks and tutelage that will make you a profitable daily fantasy sports player. I am out. Hold it down. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.